let me jump back over here then. Okay. Let me close. Oh my goodness. Let me close this. Okay. So you finished your Trails of Azure and Future Redeemed.
Yep.
Anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I mean, with Azure, the climax, the final chapter and the climax were quite good. It was interesting. Trails always does that well.
Yep.
But overall, I think now that I've played all three of the arcs that have released, I guess the next arc is already 2 games in Japan, so we're kind of a ways behind. But the 3 arcs that have been released in English, Sky, Crossbell, and Cold Steel. Crossbell's my least favorite, which is not a popular opinion amongst the community. People really love the Crossbell games, and they're not bad, but I think they're as far as overall games, they're good. They're very good games, but compared to the rest of the series, they're pretty meh. They're pretty meh for me. I like Cold Steel better, and
Okay.
Sky 2 is really good, and I think Sky 2 is better than Azure, which those are the climax games of those 2 arcs, and I like Sky's second chapter better. And then Sky 1 and 0 are, I don't know, they're pretty even, I think. I think the payoff for Sky 1 is a little bit better. The end of Sky 1 is really good, but the game's really slow. For the most part. So yeah.
Okay.
Again, it's good, but yeah, and again, unpopular opinion, but I like Cold Steel is my favorite arc of the 3. I think the Cold Steel games are really good. So, unpopular opinion within the fandom, but that's fine. That's fine. Again, Crossbell not bad, but I think it's my least favorite arc of the 3. And the Xenoblade DLC, Future Redeemed.
Wait, how long was it?
I did not everything, but almost everything. I didn't level up to 100 and fight. There's 4 or 5 unique monsters that I didn't kill that are all level 70 or higher.
So not 100%.
There's 160 that I didn't kill, and then everything, all the rest of the unique monsters I didn't kill were and I left a few collectibles out here and there that I didn't get, and a few monsters that I didn't fill out the enemy PD. So I did almost 100%, pretty close. It was 23, 24, maybe 25 hours around there, mid-20s.
That's a long DLC. Okay.
I mean, Torna was 40, which was the last Xenoblade.
Relative
the
to every other game's DLC I've ever seen.
So for me, this game is the best they've done exploration in any Xenoblade game. They had you actually got rewarded for exploring. There was this system called affinity points, which was a skill tree-esque thing. It's not really a tree, but it's a skill panel, and you upgrade your arts, you upgrade your skills, you get stats, etc. And you gained affinity points for that tree by doing the exploration, by filling out the enemypedia, filling out the collectopedia, getting all the landmarks, opening the chests, doing all the exploration stuff. You got rewarded for over time, and doing the community thing. So I think gameplay and exploration are some of the best of any Xenoblade game in this game, because it was very rewarding to explore, and the game compared to the main game is not that big. It's it's reasonable to actually fill out everything in the game. Where I think it would have been nice to have something like this in Xenoblade 3. But that game is much bigger, and maybe it would have just been a little too much. I'm not sure.
Okay.
On the downside, I think story-wise, this is probably the weakest Xenoblade has been, in my opinion. It's not bad, but it's pretty meh for me. It was very like, the fan service was cool if you've played all the games. Like Shulk and Rex are there, and Rex he is turbo broken. Holy moly, he is busted. You literally at the end game you have like 80-90% crit, and double spinning edge resets
Oh.
on crits, so you just double spinning edge, double spinning edge,
I
double
see.
spinning
Okay,
edge.
you just
It's
spam.
like, okay.
You just spam something.
Yeah. So Rex is just turbo busted, but you know, that's fine. And Shulk kind of sucks, to be honest, which is
Ooh.
unfortunate. I mean, Shulk, they made Shulk a tank because they made the main character of this game, whose name is Matthew, who has relation. You know, it's spoilery for the main game, but he has relation to the lore and the characters of the main game.
Yep.
But Matthew is good. He's the other DPS character, and they made Shulk a tank, and unfortunately, tanks just suck ass in Xenoblade 3. So yeah. And nothing. The tanks can't hold aggro, especially from Rex, but they can't even hold aggro from Matthew. Like, I don't know. Tanks are just not good in Xenoblade 3.
Mm.
But yeah, story-wise, the fan service is good. If you played the other games, there's lots of references. And yeah, like two of the characters that are there, you have Glimmer and Nickel.
Okay.
Glimmer is, again, spoiler alert on this, but I don't think you'll play it, and I don't think many people are watching. But Glimmer is, again, they don't say it outright, but Glimmer is pretty obviously Rex and either Pyra or Mithra's daughter. And then Nickel is Shulk and Fiora's son. So.
Okay.
So yeah, you have some children characters, and then you have a few other characters in the community. There's one, what's her name? Her name is Linka, who is, again, pretty obviously Zeke and Pandaria's daughter from Xenoblade 2 again. Yep. And then you have another character named Panacea, which I think people are...
Panacea?
Yeah, her name's Panacea, but
Jesus
people
Christ.
are theorizing, you know, maybe like some other character's daughter from Xenoblade 1, like Ryan and Starla or something like that. We don't know.
Time?
Yeah, Ryan time. So yeah, there's good fan service there. The ending is pretty good, but it doesn't spoil the message of the main game, which we were a little bit worried about. So the ending is good, but the story is just like really. It just moves really fast. Like, the game is 25 hours, but the story is just really short. Like, by the time you've gathered the party, you're halfway through the story, and you don't know anything about the story, like the actual story yet. And then you actually find out the story, and then you do some more traveling. You do a few chores to get to where you need to go, and then you go to the final boss and you kill the final boss, and that's it.
Oh, like, interesting. Okay. Huh.
I think Ghost said there's like 25 hours of sorry, not 25. There's like 2 hours of cutscenes or so in the whole game, which is very short for Xenoblade. Obviously, it's a shorter thing than like the main game, but like 30 minutes of that is like the end of the game.
Oh wow! Okay.
Where you're like finally fighting the final boss, and then like the ending.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just not a lot of story there, and the side quests are pretty fetchy, uninteresting, whereas the main game actually had some cool and interesting side quests.
Gotcha.
So yeah, gameplay wise, it's quite good. It has Xenoblade 3's combat. There's less customization because you can't change the classes of your characters, but they did exploration really, really well in this game, as I mentioned, because exploration is manageable and rewarding. But story-wise, it compared to the rest of the series, it's very weak in my opinion. And I did not particularly like Matthews as the main character. I didn't like his voice actor very much either, to be honest, which, again, the voice acting in Xenoblade, it's been a little hit or miss, but generally in 3 it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't dig Matthew's voice actor very much, unfortunately. So yeah, it's a good DLC. If you played Xenoblade 3 and you're a fan of the series, it's worth playing. It's not that long compared to most things Xenoblade, so it's worth playing. But it didn't blow my mind or anything. It's fine.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Let me share my Mega Man experience this week. I'm not going to talk to you where I'm at. Instead, I'm going to explain. Before every tournament match, you know this, you do a quest.
Mm-hmm.
You do a quest that is related to your opponent. My quest was for Searchman, was my opponent, and Searchman's operator is a soldier. So the soldier and Lan get in a little, I don't know if disagreement is the right term, but he eggs on Lan and talks down to him and then punches it. So Lan's like, I'm going to get it back. Allow the quest to begin. Let me explain how you actually start the quest. And then I want you to recognize that old games, sometimes it's better that games aren't like old games. Your quest begins by going to the area known as Sharo or something like that. And you have to do like this test. But after the test, the guy's like, all right, you're worthy. You can go help this other character, this soldier character in the undernet. Okay, sounds good. So I jack into the computer right there. Quest starts for me. First, you have to find out where to go to the undernet. Well, the thing is, you can't actually get there from this area. Let's pretend the area is 2 islands. You have island 1 over here and island 2. You got to get to island 2. But the only way to get to island 2 is you can't just get there. You have to go all the way around into 2 different areas and go back like a horseshoe. Okay? So you go through the whole horseshoe and you get to this guy at the end. He says, oops, sorry, you can't cross. You need a surfboard. It's called a sea slider, but you need a surfboard. So you're like, okay, well, how do I get that? He tells you, well, there's this master, like, craftsman, this blacksmith. You got to go find the person. Turns out the blacksmith's back on the other island. So you jack back out, you jack back in, you go to where the blacksmith is. You have to pay 500 zenny, and then you can go to the blacksmith. Blacksmith says, well, in order to get the sea slider, you have to go find 3 parts in 3 different areas. Okay, sounds good. Where can I find them? Well, fortunately, she tells you where to go, but all of them are hiding. They hide under the foreground because there are bridges. There's like, it's like a weird leveling system with the net, right? So you got to find where they're hiding under these, like, under the foreground. So you got to go around under the foreground. I look at my thing and I go, well, fortunately, I knew this was going to happen. I pre-purchased one of the parts. So now I got to find the other 2 parts. So I go to the other areas and I'm like, okay, I got the other 2 parts. I look at my inventory. I look at my cash. I'm very low on cash because I'm spending money to get upgrades. The problem is each of these parts, these next 2, 3,000, 4,000. What's the best way to get money? I jack out, go back to my hometown, jack in from my computer, and go through the entire net, picking up every item I can to get any scrap of money I can. I finally get enough to buy second part. I purchase it, got it. Now I have to buy the last part. Thing is, I don't really know where it is. So I have to find this guy that's under the foreground. So I spend time going through the area that I need to go through, which means I have to jack out, fly back to across the pond to Neotopia, and then I jack into Neotopia, go find this guy. I look at my inventory, $200 cash or zenny, $4,000 to purchase it. Now I gotta grind. So I start grinding battles. Is this bothering you yet, by the way? This is a lot of stuff I've had to do.
I've been bothered since like the second thing you had.
Well, now I gotta grind. So I gotta fight a bunch of battles, painstakingly getting cash every step of the way. Thing is, if you do too well, you get a chip instead. So you can't do too well in the fight. Maybe you get hit like once or something, or you don't get an auto clear. you got to get like 6 to 8 stars in the battle or whatever rating. And if you get that, the most you can get is 250 zenny to like maybe 300. So either I can grind out a bunch of battles, which is like in the best case scenario, probably 12, maybe 13, possibly more, or I can go run around the net again and find items. Well, at this point, I'm really annoyed. So I decide to grind out the battles. It takes a long ass time, but I figure out exactly the best place on the net to grind out battles where it's really easy to get like 200 and 300 zenny. So then I get the 200 and 300, I get enough 4,000 zenny. I jack out of where I am, go back into the Neotopia area, go back to the next area, which is like called Yumland or some shit. And I know this off the top of my head now because I've been there like 7 times. So I get there, buy the sea slider, jack back out, fly to Sharo, jack into Sharo, go back to the master builder. She builds the goddamn surfboard, and now I can start the quest. Are you having fun yet? No, I know I am.
That sounds horrible.
It was terrible. Especially when you don't know ahead of time, oh yeah, this is the point where you need it. And I knew ahead of time I needed this surfboard. The problem is I didn't remember where all to get it. And it costs like, it costs 11,000 zenny to buy the whole thing. If you don't know exactly when, you probably won't have 11,000 zenny. Oh, by the way, you can't sell chips. You can't just go out and sell your guard chips. So you got to actually either find items in the net or battle. So that whole sequence took an hour. And I consider
that only took an hour?
Yes, but because the internet is a godsend. If the internet didn't exist, I'd have been fucked.
I was gonna say, that sounds like that should have taken like 3 or 4 hours, but okay.
I was lucky because I had already bought one of the parts. If I hadn't, it would have taken 2 hours. But I had bought one of the parts ahead of time, knowing this was going to happen. I just didn't know when.
Basically,
so now
what
I
you're
have
saying
this.
Is, fuck trying to play that game without a guide.
Oh my god! That game is just, holy crap. That is probably the worst pre-match mission I've done so far. And some of them you get lucky and it's like it only takes about 20 to 30 minutes. But others, holy shit. That's my Mega Man experience so far. It is so fun when you actually get to battle and do reasonable quests. As in like, okay, I say reasonable, but like, oh, my Navi's been captured in the net, even though I could just jack out at any time. So they just, she's like, no, Roll's been kidnapped. And the whole time, Ghost is in the chat. I remember, he's like, can't she just jack out Roll? Like, can't you just do that?
Check out.
Nope, apparently not. Apparently, I just assume there's some jamming thing that they put on. They're smart enough to be like, we can jam your system so you can't actually jack out or some shit. I don't know. But, oh my god. So I'm like, that's a reasonable mission to me because it's like, okay, you just gotta go find Roll and save her. Although that one wasn't even that reasonable because the guy who kidnaps her, he's like, I'm gonna go shopping. And I'm like, where? Where is he going shopping? So what do you think I did? I went to Google. I went to Google and I said, where the fuck is that guy shopping? And then somebody said AC/DC 2. How would I have known that? There's multiple places where there are stores. There's like at least 2 others I could think of where a Navi is like a store. How would I have known it was AC/DC Town? Basically, either I can't read, which is likely. Reading is tough for me. Or this game just, oh my god, this game. It is so great when I can battle, though. I love doing the battles. They're so fun. But holy shit. Also, I do appreciate, by the way, the last one I love about this game. I do like that before you boot up this game, it tells you, hey, look, this game was old. There's probably some stuff in here that may not be cool nowadays. It might be frowned upon. Just keep that in mind. There's one sequence where Lan actually gets kidnapped. And the kidnappers are like, actually the tournament organizers. They're like, yeah, we had to beat the shit out of you and kidnap you to prove you could fight the tournament. And I'm like, are you serious?
It makes no sense.
They're like, hey, we just had to prove you could do it. What do you mean? We had to beat the shit out of you, kick you into a car, and they basically knocked him out, put him in a car, and then like kidnapped him. And they're like, good, you passed the test. I'm like, what test? You kidnapped a kid. That's not a test, that's a crime. You just committed a crime. What do you mean test? So I'm like, oh my god, this game is like it's a hidden gem. It's a hidden gem at times. It sucks when you have to do the surfboard stuff, but man, it's so funny when they're like, you passed the test, and the whole time like you kidnapped a 12-year-old. So that's been great. Anyway, Mega Man Battle Network has been really fun. I'm excited to finish that up.
Well, it's been really fun, except when it's not.
Oh my god, it's so painful. Overall, the experience is fun, but it's so painful when that one part ruins the whole day. It just ruined it. Like the game itself is really fun though. Obviously, like I can't say enough about how fun it is. But like, man, that one sequence. There are two sequences I dreaded: surfboard, which I knew this was going to happen, and collecting points.
The tickets.
The fucking tickets. What a horrible idea. Like, we'll just make him collect 40 tickets. Oh god. And you just have to click everywhere. Oh.
I mean, it's pretty obvious in some places with these games that they made each of these games in a year and just put random fucking fetch quests in the game that don't tell you where to go to pad out the length of the game because they're pretty short. Like,
oh my god, it was so good though.
For anybody who says, man, I hate when games tell me where to go and they have like a objective marker everywhere, would you rather have this? Because I'd sure rather just have an objective marker.
I think I'd just rather them tell me explicitly where to go.
Yeah.
It's like, this is not rewarding. Please. But the highlight of that game has been, congrats, you passed the test. It's like, you punched me and threw me into a car. This is net battling. This isn't boxing.
Or the mafia.
Congrats, kid. Yes, you passed the test for the net battling mafia. Like that. Like what the fuck?
Gunpla Mafia.
Gunpla Mafia. Love Gunpla Mafia. Oh my god. Okay. Other than that, I've been doing Age of Wonders. Let me help you with the hints. Let me give you the hints before we have to like. Before I forget the hints. So yeah, so let me explain, like, not to necessarily spoil the whole thing, but I think you should know this because you'll figure this out anyway. Your opponent will beat you by turn like 80, 85. Because what they end up doing is if you just sit back and like try and build up to like God mode, they get a magic victory.
They just do magic victory.
So yeah, you can do the other victories still in the campaign. I don't know if you can do them to win, but the opponent can. So
you might be able to. I'm not sure.
But in any case, you can't beat the opponent to a magic victory anyway. They've got a head start, unless you like are just like balls to the wall on it. So for mission 3, I know you're going for the achievement, but like that the like cat faction, the cat faction will go for like I don't know if they go for magic victory, but they're like, if you go too far into the game, their army is really like their army is insanely strong. I remember it was like crazy.
Yeah.
In mission 4, they will try and magic victory you. And in mission 4, it's funny. I'm not gonna spoil that mission, but if you lose the first time, that's totally fine, because like I feel like for some of these they expect you to lose the first time.
Yeah.
Because they're like, yeah, you're never gonna figure this out unless you lose the first time. There's like a way where that one too, you just got to do it as fast as possible, and they give you a hero at the beginning of the game, so you have 2 heroes to start. Just maximize using those heroes, and like just start building units. Just go. Like, don't even try and turtle. Don't turtle. I'm on mission 5, and the opponent will actually attack you consistently. Yep. They just actually, in my game I just was playing last night and a little bit earlier today, they attacked me and they just killed me. Their army is just too strong. They have the angel form already.
Oh wow.
They have the angelic form already, and they just attacked me, and I'm not that far into the game. I'm like turn 40, and they just attacked me with like so much strength. And they have evokers, which evokers are the high magic unit. Those things just killed me across the map in the combat. They killed a whole army across the map. The evoker has like this special ability. I don't remember what it's called. It just has insane range. They just hit me from across the map. They killed like a whole segment of my army in one turn. I was like, oh, I see. So yeah, they came at me on turn 40 with like over 2,500 strength.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
Which you can't, like, I've been trying to like do a pretty solid job. I just feel like for some of these, you should just play as the barbarian faction, and you just
like most of them, you need to play as barbarian.
I think you just should play as the barbarian faction. In Mission 4, I played as a high faction, but I was extremely aggressive. I just played as an extremely aggressive high faction.
So yeah, in Mission 3, what I'm doing is, well, the one part of the build that is completely useless, which is unfortunate, but I'm doing Shadow and Order, so I'm doing Necromancy and Zeal, basically.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm playing pretty aggressive, but like because both of those trees have like vassal stuff in it.
Yeah.
That stuff is totally useless in Mission 3 because you can't vassal it. You can't really interact with free cities.
You can't. What you do is you can kill cities and just force them to be a vassal.
Well, yeah, but yes, and I've done that a couple of times. But the relations never increase, and you're not allowed to give them a Whispering Stone. So they just stay as like a minor tributary or whatever, and they give you a little bit, and you get their magic materials. But that's about it.
Which is why they kind of are like, hey, like you might lose the first time. Like that's why for Mission 3, I just picked barbarians and I just went face.
Yep.
I just flattened everybody. I didn't even care who was in my way. I just flattened them. I was like, goodbye, flattened. And whenever they gave me an opportunity to give me a hero for free, I took it. Every opportunity. Every single one. Because you can. They'll just give you free heroes. Just take them. And you just... The entire map, you just sit on it. You just sit on it. And you do... Like for 4, it's the same thing. You just go face. You can't sit. You can't turtle. You just go face. Because in Mission 4, they magic victory you. They just magic victory you. In the third mission, I don't know if they magic victory you, but like, if you turtle, the other ones just get stronger than you. They just get too strong. I found.
Oh yeah,
they're just so powerful.
As I said, I killed the guy that was closest to me. Okay. And I'm kind of moving towards the next one, but I haven't like actually encountered the next one yet. I don't know how strong they are. But the dude that was closest to me was so freaking annoying. Like, he had like his hero, like his units were, well, he was like Mystic faction. He had like Starblades, and his units, like his scouts and like his tier 1 mages were just doing a shit ton of damage to me, which I like don't know. But the hero himself, he was so tanky. He had like a tier 3 or tier 4 like two-handed weapon, and he would just like one-shot my frickin' units.
Yeah.
And then and his weapon had like an insta-death thing on it. And the first time I fought him, he insta-killed like 3 or 4 of my units with that ability. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like, it procced every time. I was like, this is stupid. And then he has Steadfast, so he lives 1 extra turn. You have to take him down to 1 health, and then you can fucking kill him.
Steadfast
that guy was so fucking annoying.
Steadfast is so infuriating. Oh, the other thing about Mission 4 that you should know about. It has the Undead Curse. Which means in combat, units will come back to life with like 10% hit points or whatever it is.
Oh, Mission 3 has like the Domain of Mayhem, so like every 2 turns you just lose control of like a third of your units. It's like, all right, this is pretty fun.
It's stupid.
Most of the time they still attack the enemies, but they make stupid attacks sometimes. Like my archer will like move to the left and turn his back to the entire enemy army and then shoot that guy and then just get murdered in the back. I'm like, all right, that's cool.
There's nothing to say. I'm just telling you this now because like I lost 2 times on a couple of these because I just had to figure this information out. I was just gathering intel. And in Mission 4 in particular, I lost twice and I'm like, okay, I've got the intel. assuming this is the case every time, I can beat this in like 60 turns now.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and you have to. In some of those, you have to beat it in 60 turns. They're just like, if you don't beat it in 60 turns, like,
they just magic victory.
they magic victory you, and the other factions get too strong. They're always ahead of you. So you like kind of have to be sneaky and wait for them to fight each other a little bit at times. And then once they are, I'm like, okay, now that you're a little bit weaker, I'm going to go ahead and sneak up on you. Like with my high one, I just pumped out like very specific things, and whatever units I could get as fast as possible, I pumped them out. And I was just like, okay, this is the end game army. It's turn 60. Like, if I can't win here, I can't win. Because the other guy's gonna magic victory, and this other faction it'll start peaking if I don't go after him. So like it's aggression is the best solution I have found. Even in Mission 5, like I don't know how to win Mission 5 quite yet, but the other factions are ahead of you. I mean, so
it seems like you kind of have to, in Mission 5 at least, from what you're telling me. Again, I don't know what else there is to it, but you're gonna have to find a way to fend off that initial assault if they're gonna attack.
If they're gonna
like
go
that,
after me,
right?
yeah.
Like,
so that's where I have to hit the reset button again. Like that'll be my second one. The other thing I found,
you just like build a bunch of fortifications or something. I don't know.
Like, it's a good question. I've thought about it. It's like, okay, maybe I should just focus on fortifying the stronghold. That's closest to like them. There's one other thing I discovered. The industrial faction, I can't get behind it. I can't get behind the industrial faction. I don't know what it is. I'm sure there is a case where it's good. I'm just finding that like barbarian, nature affinity, I'm finding that the barbarian and nature-based affinities are just better. They're just better.
I love the magic affinity. The magic affinity tree is so good. The astral tree.
Astral's good too.
Every one of those unlocks. It's like, oh, your spells cost less. Oh, you can cast more spells. Oh, you can cast spells on the first turn. Oh, you get a ton of research for having magic materials. Oh, your magic units have less upkeep. It's like, I'm like, Jesus, all these abilities are so fucking good. What
They're very
the hell?
good.
Like,
no, they are. Astral's good too. I'm just pointing out, like, I tried Industry once, and I'm like, these are not very good compared to these other ones.
I played it once as well, but it was on the first story mission, and the first story mission's really easy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know. I like tried it. I was like very curious. It's like maybe Industry could work. I'm also finding that mixing and matching tomes is working out much better now that I'm used to how the tomes work. I've started mix and matching a little bit more, and I'm starting to like understand that certain affinities just don't balance out with each other very well. And they tell you that, but like you can't use Shadow and Nature. Like Shadow and Nature, you're going to get some penalties, and they'll tell you that. They're like, hey, if you use those together, you get penalties. So like Industry must pair with something. You can't do the Mystic one. Those ones have like they don't balance. But Industry must balance with something else well. I just haven't found it quite yet. I'm still figuring it out. I'm guessing Industry and High could work, or like Industry and maybe there's like an Industry and Barbarian that works too. I don't know, but like mixing and matching is what I'm trying to figure out too.
Industry and Nature seems weird, but I feel like it could work because like Industry gets you like the defenses and like the production, so you just go for like a super like tall, like not exactly tall but like, and then Nature gives you the food, so you just get really big powerful cities because you have all the food and stuff from Nature, and then you have all the production from Industry and gold from Industry as
exactly
well.
So like there are certain combinations I'm trying to figure out, and like,
but yes, I agree with you in general. The Materium, like the industrial culture, the Materium tomes, and the Materium infinity, the affinity tree for Materium, I think are the weakest.
They're the weakest.
Like, any of the six.
They're the weakest. For me, at least, they've been the weakest. I'm just like, I'm like, yeah, I don't vibe with any of this. I don't like it. The most interesting one that I tested, I don't know how to make it work quite yet, is you can make like a crazy archer build. So you have various tomes that do buffs to archery. So there's like arrows, like ice arrows, electric arrows, fire arrows, magic boosting
God.
arrows.
The best tome for archery is Tome of Amplification.
Yes.
The one that makes the lightning, it makes them bounce. It's like that
Yes.
shit is nuts.
So you can
Oh, and
build like
scrying, Tome of Scrying
Yes.
as well, which makes you ignore obscured. That one's also ridiculous. The two tier 2 astral tomes are nuts
So,
for archers.
There's
Yeah.
an archery build that you can do. And it's like you would probably do, I think, doesn't your hero get the archery bonuses too? Or does it avoid the hero? I don't remember.
You might have to take a skill to get them, but
Yeah, I think it's a skill.
a hero
There's
skill.
a hero skill.
Yeah.
But the point is, there are archery units. So like, for example, some of the higher archery units are like Glade Runner. Glade Runner is a tier 3 archery unit in the nature side.
I don't think I've used them, but I've heard that in tier 2 Materium, the Tome of Winds, generally that tome is pretty crap, but I've heard the archer in there is really good.
So
the
that's
Zephyr archer.
So I'm looking for so there's an archery build out there that I'm really interested in discovering, because I tested the waters on it. My tier 1 archers could blast the shit out of things, and they were tier 1.
Yeah.
So
and then, of course, you have the Houndmaster and Tome of the Horde. So
you see, so like there's an interesting thing that you could do with archers. I'm like discovering things like, oh, if I take all the archery buffs, they don't really do physical damage anymore, but they do so much elemental damage that if the opponent has no resistances at all,
they just die.
You just one shot them. Like I almost one shot one of them, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is looking pretty good right now.
And your shots bounce with Tome.
And they bounce. So I'm like, holy shit. This could work. I'm like, okay, this could work. There's a way that this could work. Because like
I think with that, I'm trying to think like which culture you would play, and you would definitely take the society trait Runesmiths, which reduces the cost of enchantments. You would definitely take that one.
Yes.
I don't know what else you would take in society traits and what culture you would play.
I don't know, but this is my new discovery. It's like, okay,
it's your new
testing
project.
it. I'm gonna test this project. It's like archery. It's just archery. Well, obviously there has to be some front line, but like, what if the archers, there was just no magic characters? It was just the archers were just blasting everything because all they did was elemental damage. It's like, I'm excited. And also there's the one where there's one in the bar. It's like a tome 2 or 3 where the arrows can make you fumble or something stupid. It stacks 5 times, 50% chance to fumble. I'm like, what the fuck? Wait, what?
The one in Chaos. That's like,
yes.
I don't remember. That's Tome of Pandemonium.
It's Pandemonium or something like that. And it's like, it stacks 5 times, 10% to fumble. I'm like, okay, so I can just stack elemental damage, and then once I'm done with my attack, they fumble. They're just fumbling. Like that one too could be a nice little like extra bonus on top of it. But like I find it's an interesting option. I'm like exploring it. I tried it. I lost in the story mission 5, but I was trying it. It was so much. It was the DPS. It was the heroes were not doing damage. It was the archers. The archers were just carrying. They were carrying every battle. It was insane.
Archers are really good. They do a lot of damage.
Yeah, and you just like start buffing their elemental attacks. It's like.
Also, skirmishers seem really strong. There's not a lot of them, but they seem really strong to me.
Yeah. Anyway, there's like some stuff I'm discovering now because I keep I just lose on this one, but I'm like, oh, okay, like, well, I'm gonna try this, see if it works, and just take a bunch of the arrow enchantments and see like how much I can push out from the archers. But anyway, but that's been my experience with Mega Man and Age of Wonders. That's pretty much all I've been doing. At this point in time with games, like I'm just waiting for Diablo. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I think we can wind things down.
Yep.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, appreciate everyone coming by. No podcast next week, and no game stream, unfortunately, next week as well, just because I am out of town. But we'll be back the week after, and we'll be doing some game news and stuff, and then we'll obviously have a lot to share with Diablo at that time, because we'll have had at the very least 2 weeks. So, all right. Thanks everyone for watching, and these videos will go up. I said it earlier, but hopefully Monday is when they're going up. So, thanks everyone.
Good.
See you later.